You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Exciting news. This podcast is presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, who have been telling Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. Follow them online at oklahomahof.com, and then definitely follow them on Instagram for all the information that you need, because I'm sure that's where you follow us as well, at oklahomahof. Let's get into today's episode.
Another friend on the podcast today. This is like the third time in a row I had a friend on. It feels really, I said weird the last time I had a friend. It was Andrew. But it feels good. It's fun to share friends' stories. I also have my wife here again today, co-hosting. This is, how many have you done now?
This will be number 3, I think.
This is number 3?
Yeah.
I won't say any more. No, you enjoy it though. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to have you because you've probably been on now more than you listened to. It's great.
Just about.
Yeah. But the reason you're here is because our guest today is friends of both of us, and she's a really cool story, and that's what we're going to dive into. And you have, I guess, some personal experience for some of the stuff that she does and the business that she has on the side of her real job, but which we'll all get into. Everyone listening is like, whoa, what is all this stuff? But please welcome to the podcast, Mrs. Hannah Griffis.
Thanks for having me.
I know, this is, I love doing stuff like this. People, like, when I interview friends, they always say, you know, like, I either have that one person who like reaches out that's a friend, like, hey, I want to be on your podcast. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, or I have that one person I'm like, that's a friend of mine. I'm like, I want you to be on the podcast. And they're like, really? I don't think I'm worthy. And that was you, right? You're like, I don't want to, do I want to do this? But no, this is awesome. Really looking forward to it. Obviously we know each other through, well, I first met you through Matt, husband Matt, who plays golf and all that stuff. And yeah, I guess over that time we've become friends, and you and T have become friends and dove into all the fitness stuff that you do, which we'll get into later. But before we get into all that, I guess what was like growing up in Oklahoma like for you?
Well, I was born in Yukon, and then we moved out to a house off of I-35 in Burton Road, and I grew up on a little cul-de-sac, and it really was just the perfect childhood home. I went to a tiny little school. So I was pretty sheltered, if we're being honest. Didn't really know a whole lot about anything. We weren't allowed to watch PG-13 movies, not allowed to read the newspaper, just very sheltered, which looking back, I appreciate so much that my parents were, basically bubble wrapped us.
Yeah.
And if we ever have kids, I feel like I'll do the same thing. But yeah, I loved growing up in Oklahoma. I will never leave Oklahoma. I think the people here are amazing, and my little community and my church and my people are really just the best.
Yeah. And like T, you probably kind of have a similar upbringing, right? Kind of, with like being told not to watch certain movies, but your mom telling you not to watch certain movies, and then dad's like, hey, let's watch this.
Yeah. Like, mom would let us watch like the typical Disney movies, but dad was like, hey, let's watch Chucky.
Nightmares forever.
Yes.
But I guess there's a lot to say about that, and I'm sure some parents now probably think they should do that a lot more. Right, like you see some kids now, and we don't have kids, either of us, which is, not in our wheelhouse right now. But I'm sure there's sometimes like, I should probably not show your kid that.
Yeah, I think it's hard because there's this balance of you want your kids to know some stuff so they're not completely blindsided when they go to college and they're like, people smoke weed? Like, what? That was me. Like on my first day of college, people were like saying swear words, and I was in shell shock, But then the older I get, and then the more work I do with families, I just think, man, I wish we could shield kids from everything.
Right.
There's that fine line of...
Yeah. So, mom and dad, were they always like Oklahoma born and raised?
Mm-hmm. Born and raised. My dad was born in a teeny little town called Asher, and my mom grew up in a bunch of teeny little towns across Oklahoma. They were also pretty sheltered, and so we've all been here forever.
And then like, so moving to Yukon back then was like not obviously what it is now. So it was kind of small town to small town, and like it was not a big change to move to Yukon, I guess.
Right. And yeah, well, and my parents lived there for, I want to say at least 10 years, maybe even 15 before they were married 10 years before they had me.
Yeah.
And so they had lived there for a long time. And we only stayed there we built when I was like 4 or 5 and then moved when I was 6 out to our other house. But
so Yukon high school, I guess?
No. Well, I didn't start school until we moved to, I was still so little. Whenever we moved to our, the house I grew up in, that's when I started. I actually went to Southwest Covenant in Yukon for, I want to say 2 years. And then 3rd grade, I went to a school up in Edmond. That was a rowdy year. And then 4th grade through 12th grade, I went to Christian Heritage in Doll City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, teeny little
totally
private school.
the other side of the city.
Yeah, all over.
How was that experience?
I loved it. Looking back, there's so many things I would say about that experience, but it was also extremely conservative in a good way. Some things I look back and I definitely have questions about, and it shaped me in a lot of ways, just as far as being, I think, really disciplined and structured and consistent, and some of those positive qualities. I do think it led to some of the more like, I hate to say it, but like judgmental or
right.
Some of those things too, just the people that I grew up with, and it is what it is. But overall, I loved it.
And then, so from there, I guess then you went to university after that. Is that, am I getting my timeline right?
Yeah, so I graduated high school in 2011 from CHA, and then I played volleyball for a semester in college at Oklahoma Wesleyan up in Bartlesville. Decided that I wanted to get married, so skipped the volleyball, came back. I do not regret that at all, but I went to UCO to finish out undergrad, lived at home for a while, kind of saved up some money, we got engaged, and then got married in 2014. Which led us here.
And if I know the story correctly, you met Matt on the golf course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was actually my supervisor, kind of a little scandalous. I was a cart girl I was a cart girl for several summers, but it was that first summer out of high school that we met. And it was weird because he actually went to Oklahoma Wesleyan too, but to play golf, but we weren't there at the same time. And so I think that's always a weird connection.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, he was there for a year before he had to come home.
Yeah.
And then he went to SNU for a while. So we kind of had the same experience, play sports for a semester. And
yeah. Do you miss the sports stuff?
Not at all. You look back and in the moment, especially in high school, it feels like everything, the Friday night game. And it is. I think high school sports are amazing and so many lessons learned and relationships formed. But now I look back and I'm just like, man, that was not as important as it felt. Not worth the crying, not worth the stress. I loved it, but I definitely don't miss it.
Okay. I guess that leads into the fitness side of stuff that you've got into over the last couple of years, which we'll definitely touch on later. But so growing up, did you always kind of know what you wanted to do? Like when you finished high school, went to university, was there like a clear-cut kind of vision, or was it more of just, I'm going to go to university and kind of figure it out?
Kind of figure it out. I always knew I wanted to do something with psychology. So that was what my undergrad degree was in. I have a minor in substance abuse studies, and then my major was psychology. And so I thought I wanted to be a therapist. Interned for a therapist, decided I hated it. Someone told me I could make a lot of money doing school psychology. I've been in grad school literally for like 6 years now. So I did the school psychology stuff, all of that, school psychometry, got those degrees. And actually, so I took a job. I've been working at a nonprofit this whole time while I've been in grad school. I worked at DHS for about a year, and then I moved into the nonprofit world while I was in school with the plan of moving into, the school setting. Mm-hmm. So actually got a job at Mid-Dell Schools, completely panicked and was like, I absolutely do not want to do this. I've invested, like $40,000 in school and 6 years of my life. Like, what am I doing? Small midlife crisis. Backed out. My boss was so gracious and asked me to stay in a different role as our mental health coordinator. And so God definitely ordained that little detour in my plans. But funny story, now I'm finishing up my third master's degree in school counseling so I can get my LPC, so I can actually be a therapist now. So life has really come full circle. I decided, I do want to be a therapist. So here we are.
The good thing is you can use everything that you have actually learned and invested in, and like it's not like you have a degree in like
it's not just a piece of paper sitting on a wall.
Right. Yeah.
Marine biology or something.
Yeah. Like I know some people like that too, and they're just like, wow, why do I have this degree?
Yes,
You
and
know,
I'm $40,000 poor. Yeah. Well, and I console myself with that because I don't think I would have the job I have now if I hadn't gone, through all of that and gotten that knowledge and those degrees and stuff. And so I feel like it's served me well. It just was kind of like, wow, it'd be nice to have known this 6 years ago, but it's okay.
But now you have all this experience and you can relate to everybody and the things that you have to do or things that you get to see every day. Like it's experience, isn't it? And it makes you much better, much more well-rounded at your job, I'm sure.
And the school setting and then, the therapy setting and the nonprofit setting and the work I do, it's all really closely intertwined when we're talking about the systems that kids live in, their home setting, their school setting, and then all the work we do. It's all really closely intertwined. So it's nice to have a little bit of knowledge of each little piece,
Yeah. And I'm sure there's stuff that you learn every day as well.
Yeah, always a learning experience every day. Yeah, definitely.
So going through this whole like process of going to school and not like really being competitive in sports outside of high school, you kind of come full circle to, I guess, a couple of years ago is like, I'm not happy with what I'm doing. I'm not happy with the way I look. I want to get back in the gym. And kick complete behind, right? Because that's what you've done. Like when you look at everyone sees before and after pictures and stuff, but you've kind of really dove into it and become it like, this is my passion now as well as working, but it's my kind of side hustle. I don't know why I don't like that term, but I do anyway. And now we have you have all these client stuff, right? That like is taking over, not too much, but you have, so what, I guess. And Taryn has experience in this too, because she's taken the programs that you've done and transformed too. I appreciate you. That.
She looks amazing.
Thank you.
She's the best client.
But I guess what led to just making that change?
Yeah, what a long winding road that has been too. So, I think a lot of it comes from, when I was growing up, I did play sports. I was always busy, athletic, practice every day. And when you're young too, I feel like your metabolism is just
fact.
Yeah, you just eat a bunch of donuts and it's fine. And and then I got engaged and I was comfy and happy and I wasn't playing sports, but I still was expecting to be able to kind of eat like I was when I played sports. And I feel like I've always had kind of a negative relationship with food. Growing up, I didn't really have an education or any knowledge of what healthy looked like. I have this memory, and I write about this in my ebook. I have this memory, literally, I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I went to the fridge and I just would pull out like handfuls of iceberg lettuce, which is the worst tasting food in the world. Don't ever eat that for any reason. And I would just eat it plain, and I'd be like, I have to eat this because it's healthy and I'm trying to be healthy. And I just had no concept of what was good and bad.
Right.
And then as I got older, it kind of transformed into this like, well, I want to eat good stuff, so I'm going to work out to make up for it. And so I would, just go run and trying to make up for the food I was eating. And that was fine. Like I said, when I was playing sports and stuff, it kind of all evened out. But then when I got older and out of sports, it really caught up quick. And the turning point, or kind of what launched everything, was I had, we got engaged. I was like, okay, I'm going to get in the gym so I'll look good for my wedding. And I was working out really hard in the gym and running and doing all this stuff. And I remember I went to change clothes at the gym, and fitting room lighting is like the worst. It's already like unflattering. It's just rough. Well, I'm in the fitting room or dressing room at the gym, and I look in the mirror, and my stomach is just jiggly, and I am horrified. And I was horrified because I've been working so hard. And I was like, I've been doing all this stuff. I've been eating the dang iceberg lettuce and running the stairs, and I still am unhappy and uncomfortable, and my jeans don't fit, and my shirt won't cover my muffin top, and I'm just so frustrated. And it really was kind of that, not rock bottom, because I was like not unhappy necessarily with my life by any means, but it was just that moment of like, okay, I have to figure something out. Something's not working. And so that's kind of when everything changed for me as far as the nutrition side of it, because I'd never had a nutritional focus or never had any education or knowledge on nutrition and how that played into literally every part of my life. And so that fitting room moment is what kind of...
And like, I had that moment. I say not that exact moment, but like I had some form of a moment like that. Because you kind of just like, you lie to yourself, don't you? Like, oh, I'm fine, I'll be fine. I don't look that bad. And then you catch yourself in one typical light and like, okay, something needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
Did you have that moment too?
Yeah, but I think it was more like even my stretchy pants are getting a little too stretched. So yeah, and I was like, this is not okay. Like, I wear loose shirts and like my work pants are tight and I'm uncomfortable and I don't want to feel this way anymore.
Do you think a lot of it had to do with like going through all the school stuff and like, you know, like the therapy side of things and working at DHS and all that kind of stuff, where you were like always outpouring on other people but never really pouring back into yourself? Do you think that had an issue with it, or was it just, I'm working out, I want to look good, I don't have the knowledge to eat right?
I think a combination of both. I think too, growing up the way that I did in specifically in a church community and then a Christian school, and my parents are incredibly generous and giving and always pouring out on others. I kind of grew up feeling really guilty for taking care of myself. Like it was selfish to spend an hour in the gym when I could be doing something for someone else, or caring about the way my body looked. That was like vain, and I still feel in some regards, like I think it is, you have to be careful again with that balance, spending 10 hours a day in the gym and, posting all these half-naked photos of yourself that's not the route I've chosen. But I think that whenever you do fill up your own cup and you're taking care of yourself, I think it gives me more energy and more, I guess, like desire to serve other people because I'm not so empty.
Yeah, well, I see it that way.
Yeah. Also, being in Oklahoma, we are one of the most, fattest states. And there's fast food literally on every single corner. And so you don't get that nutritional education at all growing up. I know, sorry, Mom and Dad, but when we lived with my parents,
pizza rolls.
Yeah, it was like, pizza and Chick-fil-A and
ramen,
Brahms, like almost every single night. And that,
which sounds amazing, but like growing up,
it tastes amazing, but it doesn't do anything.
Well,
for your body.
like Hannah, you said, it's great when you're younger, right? And you have a fast metabolism, and it doesn't really matter. But when you grow up and you have to like start to think and learn about this stuff, like, I mean, when we tried like doing like the whole plant-based stuff for like 3 weeks, it was horrific because we had no knowledge of like what to cook, and I felt so bad. And people, if they've listened to this or listened to the plant episode that we did, will know this story that I literally hated what we tried to cook what Taryn tried to cook for the first 3 weeks. But so when you get to that point, you just like dive like, okay, I'm gonna attack this with all the stuff that I've been doing with school and all like my tenacity to learn stuff for school and my job. Like, I'm just gonna attack nutrition now instead. Was that kind of how it went?
Yeah, I think kind of like I was saying earlier, some of those, character traits I developed, the discipline and the structure that can be real harsh and judgmental, I think served me well in this regard because I was disciplined. And I think that education piece was such a big part of it because I literally was just reading everything I could get my hands on and watching videos. And that's really what I encourage people to do if they are, because it is overwhelming. You're like, I want to start eating healthy, but is it iceberg lettuce only, or can I eat cake too? Is that okay? Or what, and then you start Googling and you're like, well, I should do keto, or I should do the paleo diet, or I should do this or that. And when you watch a video by someone who is any of those things, like a keto advocate, they're like, this is the only way. This is the way you're going to get healthy. Look at my pictures. I look amazing. You need these supplements. Send me $40. I'll send you the, it gets sticky with the marketing and the money and all of that. And so I just think the education piece of it is so important. And that's what I'm really passionate about. Just that, even just getting started, learning about what makes up your food. I mean, eating McDonald's every day sounds delicious, but if I eat McDonald's tonight and go to the gym in the morning, I'm going to feel it. And I can't, I mean, that's happened a few times where I'll go and, I don't know, like we'll go out and have tacos and queso and it's so fun. And then the next morning I'm like on the rower in the gym and I'm like, wow, this is a struggle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's worth it. You know, I'm never going to give up tacos and queso, but
you notice it. And that's one thing that I noticed too, was like, you never notice it when you're just eating like that, because that's how you feel all the time. But you realize it. You'll only ever realize it when you do eat well, and then you go back and have one bad meal. I say it's not a bad meal, but it makes you feel bad instantly. Like some of the meals that we've had, you know, we've gone and like had tuckers or had like amazing steak at Texas Roadhouse and fuzzies and like, you know, all the rolls and stuff. I'm like, that was so good, and then an hour later I feel horrific.
Yeah, I just feel nauseous. And gross.
Do you have one of those Whoop things? Have you seen those?
I've seen them. I don't have them because they're the one that I saw was expensive. Do you guys have them?
No. So it's it came up in our interview with Brooke Wells. She was talking about, I think she's sponsored by them, but basically it like tracks your sleep.
Oh. Okay.
So and the point that she made was like, she knows she can like wake up in the morning, it's tracked her sleep, and if she can see if she's eaten something bad like for dinner the day before, then it shows in her sleep schedule, which I thought that was fascinating, because you don't just wake up feeling bad. Like it's like full 12 hours of you not feeling good, but you don't notice it because you're sleeping. And now I thought that was really interesting, but I think a lot of the athletes are now using that. I think even golfers have started using it, like tracking sleep and nutrition. And anyway, no free ads here.
Sponsor me. Well, and I think sleep is something that it's one of those things that I've spent a lot of time researching as well. One of my favorite sleep books is by, I think his last name's Walker, but his name's Matthew Walker, and he's a sleep like psychologist, and he has a delightful accent like yours. He's wonderful. But so I had a lot of, I don't know if I would call them like health issues, but all these things over the years that I've been like trying to figure out, feeling fatigued, and like my blood sugar would drop and spike, and I would feel really weird. And I spent literally years like going to multiple doctors trying to figure all this stuff out. And finally my doctor, she was so nice, but she was like, I think this is all in your head. And I was so offended. I didn't go back. I was like, something's wrong. I know it. I'm the boss of my own body, and you know, all this stuff. I'm like hyping myself up. So then I started, she was like, I think that you should sleep more. And I was like, I sleep 6 or 8 hours at, you know, whatever, all this justification. Well, I was like, well, I'm exhausted, so I'm just going to try it because I have nothing left to lose, you know? And so I started trying to get like 9 to 10 hours of sleep. Yeah. I'm a new woman. Like, and that's not practical for every night. But people neglect sleep. They think I will sleep when I'm dead. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to stay up till, 2 a.m. and work, and then I'll get up at 6 and work out. It is not like sustainable. Rest. Yeah. It's crazy. The amount of, how much sleep affects everything.
That's another thing that Brooke said too, is like that she's known in the community for being like the sleep queen, because she sleeps like 10 hours. I'm like, how do you sleep that long? I mean, when you're working out literally all day, I can understand that, but also like, it's amazing how much it really helps.
Well, yeah, your body can recover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, I mean, we don't. It's funny how we've actually like go to bed now at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, right?
Oh, I am cranky if I'm not in bed by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Y'all are early risers though, right?
We've been slacking recently. But I say we are not early risers, the dogs are early risers.
They force us.
This morning it was like 4:55. Seffi's like, it's time to eat now.
No.
Like, okay, my queen, I should slave over you.
Your wish is my command. Yeah, pet parent probably.
It's funny how they're on a strict schedule, and the dogs are like 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like that's their eating time, and they know it too.
Yeah, she gets cranky and
so
hangry.
It's so funny.
Me too, I get it. I feel like a 5 a.m. wake up time was something when I was younger that I would never have imagined. I thought I could not do it. I thought it was impossible.
Even a year ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I was like, I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. I want to sleep until the last minute possible.
Yeah.
And
I could get up early for golf. Growing up, that was the only thing I could get out of bed for. Regardless of what time it was, I could easily get out of bed. But like for anything else, no.
Do you remember how Tim Broughton would have to sleep in his car so he wouldn't be late?
Did you know this story? So we had like 6 a.m. workouts as a team, right? And Tim, so like he was late a few times. I mean, by late, I mean, he didn't show up because he slept through it. And he'll tell you this as well. But there was a few times he just like, I'm just going to park it outside the gym and sleep in my car. So we just knock on his window and wake him up and go into, come on, it's time to go.
Get up.
Which now doesn't make any sense because you just have the worst night's sleep
Sure.
ever and now you have to work out. But so you go from, I guess, making this change and realizing that it's time to get healthy or eat healthy and learn more about food and get better. And the goal is like, want to look better and feel better and all that stuff. And you drop, was it 40 pounds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right,
Which
about
is
40.
amazing, right? Like
It's incredible.
like, and we've been working out recently. Taryn's been carrying a 25-pound weight vest around when we go walk in the morning. She's like, I can't believe I used to carry this around. Can you imagine trying to carry 40 pounds around now?
No.
It's crazy, isn't it? But you don't realize it, right?
Yeah.
So you go through all that, and then it's like, were people asking you a lot about it after you kind of like posted, said, hey, because I'm sure, obviously people knew, but they didn't know the actual figure. So when did people start like reaching out and asking, I guess, not really, were they like, hey, help me? Or were they like, so how did you do this? And I kind of want to help, but did they, because I know how people are as well. They're curious, but they don't want to be like,
They don't want to ask for help.
they don't ask for help.
Or commit. They don't want to commit.
Yeah, and you're like, I did this, and this,
Yes,
like the 75-day thing that we're doing.
yeah.
People are like, I don't want to do that.
I'm out.
Yeah. So yeah, what was that like after losing all that, all that weight and like learning so much about nutrition and everything that goes with that to like having like an ebook and a business and like a story about all this stuff?
Yeah. So I think the questions started, the questions kind of came throughout as people could see I was like making different choices in my food and all that kind of stuff. People had questions, are you on a diet? Are you trying to lose weight? All that kind of stuff. And then I posted on my social media, basically just like a before and after. I kind of had hit this. I didn't really have like a goal weight, but it was basically a year. So 2016 to 2017 was kind of the year that I lost all the weight, and it took me about 9 or 10 months. So February of 16 to probably October, November of 7, right? Is that like a year? I don't know.
Yeah.
Math is hard. But at the end of that, that's when, so 40 pounds down, I posted about it, and I talked a little bit about some of the things I had learned. And that's kind of when people started asking me, kind of that helped me, like, I want to know what you're doing. A lot of people ask me, what products are you using? What are you selling? Stuff like that. And so that was really exciting for me to be able to say, you don't have to buy anything.
You don't have to buy anything, yeah.
Let's just talk about it. And I think for me, the biggest thing, I wanted to lose weight for sure. I was unhappy with the way my body looked. And I was in a couple weddings and we had these like little peach colored dresses. And I saw a picture and I was like, I'm humiliated. Which I hate that I look back and something that I
think it's something we all do though. I've done it.
Yeah. You look at a picture and you're just like, oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just think people they wanted to know, like, is this something I can do? And I tell people literally, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because I have no skills, like nothing. And so I don't know. That's kind of when things started, the questions started coming.
Yeah. And then because you had like I guess you have a small group of friends that you had, right? You had like, okay, I'm going to start a little Facebook group and we're going to help everyone out. And then was that like a trial? If I can do this and people can have an impact, then I guess I can really, like put myself into it and make some money off it and pay for all the gym classes or just have some money coming back, right, for all the time that comes into it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, I even feel weird now charging people money because I am very upfront in my book. I'm like, what you're about to read is from Google. Like everything I've learned, I don't have any degrees in nutrition or kinesiology or anything fancy, health and wellness related. But people are incredibly overwhelmed. Like I was saying with the keto and the paleo, you start Googling and, you should do more, HIIT training or less. You shouldn't lift weights because then you're going to do this. There's just so much information. And so I took all of that information plus the, 4 years of trial and error with my own body and then put it into what I feel like is an easy kind of a step-by-step guide. Like, here's what you need to know. Here are the basics. Stop getting stressed out about, protein shakes and all these details. Like, here's the basics. Here's what you need to know. This will work. Like, I can promise you it will work.
It does work.
It does, right?
I can promise you it works.
Yeah.
It works. It's math and it's science. And it's hard because when we talk about it in that regard, like it is math and science, it's numbers. But especially for women. So sorry, gentlemen listening, my whole, platform or program is really geared towards women specifically. And even more specifically, women who are kind of beginning. This is definitely not for your Brooke Wells or your elite athletes. But it's for just regular, normal gals who work a desk job and just want to make some changes. We're not trying to be competitors. We're not trying to be bikini models. We just want to have our jeans fit over our waist, and
which
not,
is like 90% of women in life.
It's just normal
right?
women.
Like,
Yeah.
You don't have that 10%. I said probably less than 10% who are like athletes and elite athletes and still have maintained a good diet their entire life.
Right. Yeah.
So I think you're onto a winner there.
Yeah, well, and really the whole, when we actually get into it, my whole, I don't know, platform sounds dramatic, but I want women to feel so empowered with the knowledge that I feel like I lacked for so many years, to make choices that fit with their needs. When you have all the information, you can make educated choices, and you're not just following a meal plan or following a workout app or something that's telling you what to do. I want women to know what to do on their own. Mm-hmm. So when they go to the gym, they're not like, what do I do now? They understand why they're doing what they're doing, and they go to the grocery store and can plan their own meals and do all this stuff on their own, and they don't have to pay someone forever,
Well, and I think one thing that I know T spoke about was also like the sense of like community that you have within the group, right? Because it's not just like, and it doesn't have to be within the group specifically, but just in general, it's much easier when you have 5, 6, 10, 15 of you on this journey together, rather than just one person struggling, like the trial and error in the 4 years that you went through. Like, that's why you have this, is because you can help. And then it goes back to you basically wanting to help people from a young age, and the way you've been brought up to, now I have this awesome experience. I've gone through it myself. It's natural for me to help others.
Well, I believe in it
cool.
like so strongly, in the sense that I want women to feel amazing in their body. Like, it is so, women are a tough crowd. We are hard on ourselves. We're hard on each other. We're petty. It's a lot, man. I'm like, there is room for everyone to win. Just because someone else looks good doesn't mean I look bad, and that's kind of, the whole premise behind everything is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the number on the scale says. It doesn't matter what size jeans you wear. If you're comfortable, if you're happy, I can help you. If losing weight gets you to that point, like, I can help you with that. But people need to understand that number in their jeans tag or, on the scale, it's not going to make them happy. I think that's so important, and just being able to feel awesome and confident in their own skin, I think is the bottom line. And that's really the premise of the book too, is people are like, I ate a salad and so I did really good today. And then, or I ate a donut and I'm bad. I'm naughty. I'm like, it's just a donut. It's like, you didn't commit a crime, Like,
food is not bad.
Yeah, there's no moral value. It's just, and so kind of taking, these preconceived notions or these like fitness myths or whatever, and I call them mind shifts in my book. We're shifting our mindset from food is bad, I'm bad, this is negative, diets are restrictive, to, hey, literally you can eat anything you want. Fuzzies, steak, rolls, eat it all.
Just eat less.
I ate ice cream almost every single day and lost 18 pounds.
Yes, exactly. And you're happy. I feel like you never felt restricted or like you couldn't have something,
And that's the beauty of it. It's like, you don't have to give up what you love in order to lose weight.
Well, and like the first time we had like a package in the mail. I'm like, oh, you have a package. What have you got now? And it's like this giant little scale. And I'm like, what are you doing with a tiny little scale? And now, obviously, it's counting macros and weighing all your food, and everything that you talk about makes total sense. But at the time, I'm like, shit. And then we have a new one now, don't we? We've gone through a few.
We have a new fancy food scale.
Jealous. It's time for a new one.
Yes.
And we can dive into that more, right? Like, that's a lot of it is to do with how much you eat. And like I said, Taryn ate ice cream every single day and lost 18 pounds.
I had queso and tacos and burgers. And I did not. I mean, yes, I was disciplined, but that's not everything,
Yeah. So you want to dive into that a little bit more? Like, we can explain it for people listening.
Sure. So kind of like the way I teach people, or the method I use.
Yeah, sure.
So really the bottom line, it sounds so simple, and people hate this, but it sounds so simple. If you eat more calories than you're burning, you're going to gain weight. If you eat less calories than you burn, you're going to lose weight. And if you eat the number of calories, if those numbers are equal, you're going to maintain your weight. Every person fluctuates 1 to 5 pounds pretty much every day. That's totally normal. But in general, you want to see kind of if you want to lose weight, great, you get to that end point and then you want to kind of maintain. Because that's what a lot of women struggle with is this, I lost 10 pounds because I ate 1,000 calories every day for 6 weeks. Now I'm starving and I'm going to eat all the things and my weight is going to spike back up and now I have to start over. And it's just this constant cycle of dieting and losing and gaining. And that is so frustrating. You go to a party and you can't eat something and then you're like, I've been so good today, I'm going to eat a treat. And then the seal is broken and you eat 8 treats and it just escalates. And so really the way I try to explain to people is you have this calorie range that, and I help people, so the clients that I work with, I help them set a range that fits their needs, their body, their experience. There's a lot that goes into that. But really the goal literally is to stay in your calorie range. And it's hard because I think sometimes, there's this intuitive eating movement where it's like, just eat what feels right. And your body will tell you when you're full. And that is so hard in our society.
My brain does not tell me when I'm full.
No.
My brain says, this tastes amazing. You should keep eating.
I may feel satisfied, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop eating because it tastes so good.
Right. And that's and especially with the way our food is processed these days and stuff. And it's just almost, I think the people that can do that, please teach me. I will buy your ebook. But that's hard, man. And so I think whenever the scale, like you mentioned, the kitchen scale is my favorite tool. Anyone that works with me, I require them to purchase one. They're like $10 on Amazon, easy breezy. People might think you're a drug dealer. It's fine. They also have mini pocket ones that I've thought about getting.
Same. For when we go out to restaurants, I just want to weigh my food.
Yep, no shame in that game. Don't do drugs, but anyways. But yeah, so it's just this education process of as you weigh food and you kind of can see from nutrition labels and then lots of Googling and the weighing and all that, you can start to see visually how much food equals a certain number of calories. So I now am at the point 4 years later, I can kind of look at a plate of food and see, okay, this is about, I don't know, half a cup or 84 grams of this, and this is how many calories that equals. So for me, I still weigh because I enjoy it.
It's routine now as well.
Yeah. And it's easy. It's quick and easy. People get really overwhelmed. They're like, this took me an hour to do. And it gets like anything. It's hard in the beginning and then it gets easier. So I can do my whole day in literally 5 minutes. But that's the whole thing is you weigh these items out, you track them, and you can see I ate, within my calorie range today. And I know cognitively because I stayed in my range, I'm not going to gain weight or I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to stay on track, whatever your goals are. And to me, that creates the ultimate sense of freedom, which is the title of my ebook, because there's no stress. I don't have to worry, I feel bad for eating this because I don't know if I'm going to gain weight or is this too much or too little. Having that knowledge in the concrete numbers gives you freedom.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't feel that way. They think it is, if you count calories, you have an eating disorder or something.
Or you're obsessive or whatever.
I might be obsessive, but I feel amazing. So whatever, you know. And it doesn't, the way I just described it doesn't fit every person's lifestyle perfectly. There's lots of ways to modify and make it fit for your lifestyle. I don't think that it has to be, my way or the highway by any means, but that's the basic general principle. If you stay in your calorie range, you're good to go.
Yeah. And to the other side of it, the working out side as well. What was it like when you first started? Because I know a lot of people listening, and I've made this mistake as well, is you go to the first time you go to the gym, you're like, I'm going to crush it. And then you can't walk for 3 days after. What were your workouts like?
So when I was losing fat in the beginning, I did a lot of cardio. I did a lot of stair climbing, a lot of running. I enjoy cardio. Some people hate it and they don't want to sweat, and I get that. I personally enjoy it. So I did a lot of cardio, and I say a lot. I did 30 minutes of cardio 4 days a week. So not excessive by any means. And then I did start trying to learn how to lift weights. In college, you would think I would have learned playing sports, but I never did. So that took a lot of work, learning what exercises I could do that didn't hurt my back and that were comfortable for me, and that I could, you have that gym anxiety, like all the men are at the dumbbell rack and you're like, excuse me. But that was something that, you kind of just have to push through. Excuse me. I need that 5-pound dumbbell. Thank you so much. But yeah, so I did the weightlifting, and then I really got into HIIT training. So high intensity interval training, which I'm obsessed with. And I recommend to everyone that can do it without it causing, people that have knee issues and stuff, the jumping can be hard on their knees, but it's super quick. You're doing 15 minutes of hard, high intensity work, and then it's over. And it burns a lot of calories really quickly. And so I did a lot of that. I did circuits. I literally would just YouTube 15-minute at-home circuit, and I would do them. I would get up early in the morning and do them before work, and then I would come home and run or do jump roping or lift some weights. Kind of hodgepodged it together.
But from the beginning, for people listening that want to start out, it was kind of low intensity, just kind of build a base kind of thing. And because I know, like I said, I've made the mistake of diving right in, and you try and do if some people listening want to start now and they go and try and do a high intensity 15-minute class, like it's gonna be miserable you're going to be done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and you're going to be a baby giraffe tomorrow trying to walk. And so absolutely.
Like, building that base is very important, isn't it? And then going into just progressing to what you are now, which is like, and these 15-minute classes, like I said, it is what it says on the tin. Like, it's very, very intense.
Right, yeah.
So, and which is great because you work all day and you just want 15 minutes to do your burn as much calories as possible, and then you can go on with your day.
And then you're done. Yeah. I definitely tell people, be smart. Don't hop in and try to lift a 50-pound dumbbell if you have not lifted weights in 10 years. That's bad for your body. I mean, you're going to pull something, or like you said, you're just going to be miserable. And then you have to sit out for 3 days, and then you're having to restart the process. And so, for a beginner, I say literally just get on the treadmill, walk with your dog, go to the park, get on the Stairmaster, do the elliptical, just something to ease into it, to get yourself into the routine. Because at the end of the day, we're not trying to be bodybuilders. We don't have to be, ripped. Just getting started into building that routine and those habits, to me, is the biggest thing. Because if you can get to the gym, half the battle's over. Go in with a plan, whatever it is for you. If you have 30 minutes, plan out, a little workout on the treadmill where you could walk at an incline for a minute and then go back down to flat for a minute, back up to an incline, just something like that. Mix it up, do something that you enjoy, get a good playlist, get, your favorite Bachelor episode on, whatever you got to do.
The Office.
Yeah, The Office, always. Yep, just cue it right on up. But yeah, just starting slow and being kind to your body. People think, that you have to jump in and kill it. And it's like, well, be gentle on your body.
Well, and as well, for people who have that like gym anxiety, you don't need a rack of weights. You can do it at your house with YouTube and like just body movements, like doing squats and push-ups and lunges and whatever, and sit-ups. Like, you don't need to wait for that stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah
that can be done.
Almost anything can be modified to be done at your house. And people hate on like body weight exercises, like, oh, it's not going to do anything. Well, it's going to do something.
Tell me after an hour.
Yes. Do some squats and call me tomorrow. Yeah. Definitely.
How can everyone like reach out? This is your chance to, because I know you're super humble and you don't really like this. Is going to make you. This is going to make you feel really awkward. But like, this is your chance. So, how do people buy the ebook? How do they reach out? How do they? Website's done now. How do they go to the website? Yeah,
so I set up a Squarespace website. So, side note, super easy. My website is freedomwithhan.squarespace.com.
Okay.
Everything's on there. The ebook is easy to purchase. I have a little one-on-one coaching thing you can purchase. It'll notify me and I'll reach out and we can connect and talk about kind of what your goals are. And also there's just like a contact me form. So if you just have questions and you're like unsure, you're on the fence, let's talk. Let's see kind of what we can do. And then so we're in the middle of a coaching group right now. It went from January to it ends at the end of March. And then I'm going to start, I think, another one in April, maybe closer to May. Okay. But the pre-registration stuff is on there. So if you're more into the group format, then that's the way to go. Some people don't like the group. They're like, just tell me, what I need to know and let's do one-on-one. And so I kind of set that option up as well. But that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. My phone number is on there. I text and then my email, and it has a little contact box too.
Great. And the thing that, like, the reason why I wanted to have you on, and the fact that, like, I love this story is, like, you're not a full-time nutrition fitness coach. Like, you have had an experience and you're, improving others by giving this service to other people. But you work 9 to 5. You have a full-time job.
Busy. Yeah.
And it's not just like your normal cashing in. Like you have a very intense job that you do, and dealing with kids and all the rest of it for, the stuff that we talked about earlier. Like that's why I love the story. It's because you've taken something
you've taken a passion or a life experience that you've had and you've turned it around to help others. And Taryn is a prime example of someone that you've helped.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, everyone listening, I'll put all the links down below that Hannah just mentioned. And if you want to learn more about food, get into looking better and just take that first step, reach out, definitely worth it.
Yeah,
So,
you won't regret it. I guarantee.
yeah. Awesome. Well,
Thank you so much.
thanks for listening, and we will catch you next episode. Cheers.
This podcast was presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, who've been telling Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. Follow them online at oklahomahof.com and definitely on Instagram at oklahomahof. Catch you next episode. Cheers.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.